a little bit about the retirement and the decision to write a book.
Hmm.
How did that came about?
No, he mentions that I told him to retire. I can't remember the exact situation, but I knew for sure what I was seeing in him toward the later years was it was more complaining and less uh fun in the journey and the outcomes. Everything seemed a lot more stressful between the students and the parents and the school board and the community and whoever else you had to interact with. And I, knowing health situation, I say, you know what? I think you've probably reached the pinnacle of your career. Now he did go on and do a few more things in an interim capacity that he talks about in his second book, but his trajectory around coming from a school teacher, assistant principal, principal, administrator, district administrator, back into the school districts, I had felt as if he had done so much and his legacy was solid, solid legacy. How about let's just step back because his work, again, working 24/7, he had no hobbies.
Hmm.
Let's just step back and say, what a nice time to walk away. And he gets his full pension. The educational benefits is great. You can go ahead, retire, relax, sit back, even though he can't do that. He's always on the go. It could be a nice clean break. And he really thought about it. And of course, you work the numbers with your financial advisor. And he said, okay, yeah, I want to do that. So I thought that was, and he really enjoyed his retirement life. And I was so excited for him for that because so often we see people work themselves to death. And I did not want that to happen for him. Yeah.
Wow, that's a very that's why you are. It seems that you're his favorite. This the
Well, there was two of us, me and my brother, but it was just the two of us. Yeah, and with the
that's what.
book, what I did with the book, and actually this was the original first time we did it. He wanted something very plain,
Hmm.
and then his second book was very plain. But
Hmm.
when his passing, I said I want to revive it and
Yeah,
jazzed up the cover. So we
yeah,
jazzed
make
up the
it.
first cover, yep, and then we jazzed up the second cover. And I also published a journal, a reflective journal, where a person could either read the books and follow along in the journal or read the journal independently and really scribe out their thoughts about situations that he's gone through. But I was helping him clean the basement, and he does not throw anything away. And that became my problem 2 years ago. But I said, you've got a lot of great artifacts, articles, stories. You need to write your book because you need to share what you've been through to empower other educators. It is tough out there being a teacher or principal or administrator, anything in the school districts. You need to share your story. And he's like, I don't have that kind of time. But COVID came and he
Yeah.
had plenty of time because he wasn't going anywhere. And he decided between myself and one of his friends from one of the areas he worked in, we had convinced him to finally sit and put pen to paper, and he wrote this book. There was a lot more detail, a lot for him to share, but sometimes you can't share everything because for fear of people
Yeah.
coming back to say that wasn't true.
Yeah.
I don't remember it that way. But when you're writing your own memoirs, it is based on your thoughts and perception. And I do
Yeah.
put that at the beginning of the book. But I was so glad when he wrote it because there was, again, going back to people don't talk about their lives. A lot of things I learned in this book, which is a shame. So I'm so glad that I had him write it because then there I know now I know there would have
Yeah.
been things I would have never known because you
Yeah.
never know when your life is going to end. And he passed
Yeah.
away in 2023.
Yeah.
Had we not done these books in 2019, 2020, there would have been so many unknowns. So I encourage everyone, especially if you have aging parents, if you can pull information out of them, that is truly what we need to do from a legacy perspective. We need to understand our history. We need to know what they went through. We need to take their lessons learned and utilize them for ours and educate the next generations going forward.
Wow. Wow, that's